Rays and the Red Sox are headed in opposite directions, with Tampa Bay riding its pitching staff to the top of the AL East standings. Meanwhile, the Red Sox are struggling, sitting 9 games back, sporting an AL worst 4.48 ERA. Tonight, these two rivals begin a 3-game set at the Trop. Tonight, the Rays pick up play at Tropicana Field, continuing their 10-game homestand. And they do it with a 1.5-game lead in the American League East, opening this series against the Boston Red Sox. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to an evening of Rays baseball with Brian Anderson, Dwayne Stats. Great to have you aboard. The Rays have been in first place all alone for 11 consecutive days. That's the longest they've been in first place continuously since 2010. Things going well for the Rays, not so well for the Red Sox, but you couldn't prove that by the young man, 22-year-old Mookie Betts at the top of their order, having a great year.
Well, this Boston lineup has gotten it going since the beginning of June, and a big reason why, Mookie Betts and the streak that he's on right now. Up in the leadoff spot, he's on a 12-game hitting streak. Half of those have been multi-hit games, and look at the average, 479 on base, over 500. He's getting it done against righties. He's getting it done against lefties, runners in scoring position, and more importantly for the Boston Red Sox, he's scoring 1 run a game. You got to corral this guy, keep him down to hold down this Boston lineup. Alex Colomé, on the other hand, coming off a rough start, the previous one, he goes out against the Cleveland Indians, and how about that line? 7 dominant innings. That one hit didn't come until the 6th inning. He was very good with the fastball, both sides of the plate, made an adjustment in his mechanics, was very good with all his pitches. The slider got better as the game went on. Try to keep it going here tonight.
You can see his line against the Red Sox in the first week of May. A couple of runs on just 4 hits, no walks in the 5 innings he worked in that game against Boston. The Rays have a string of right-handed pitching here over the next few days going up against them, and the Rays have added a left-handed bat. Mark Krause comes over from the Angels organization. Tom Callis has more on that.
matchup between the Red Sox and the Rays on this Friday night from Tropicana Field. In case you haven't heard, Krause was acquired from the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Rays looking for a left-handed stick, a guy who's played a little first base before. Krause has played both in the outfield and first base, but more first base this season. Here's the move. Nick Franklin sent to AAA Durham. You see, he has been struggling this year at the plate, trying to learn a new position also at first base. Instead, Krause, who has played first over his career, comes over from the Angels. You see what he's done at AAA for Salt Lake City, close to 300. Acquired for right-hander Kyle Winkler, a minor leaguer from the Rays. We caught up with both Krause and with the manager Kevin Cash. And for Krause, he said, for me, it's about not messing with what's working here in Tampa Bay, just trying to fit in.
Try to put together good at-bats whenever I'm in the lineup. Do what I can to help the team win. That's the main goal every night at this level, especially with the team that's in first place. Just not mess up anything and continue what they've been doing. They've had a great run, and we're just going to keep doing that and see where it takes us.
It'll probably be more of a right-left matchup oriented, but it's tough to determine. Going into it, we're excited he's here. He just flew in from across country, basically, and he's right in the lineup tonight. So hopefully he gets off to a good start.
Krause said he heard great things about the Rays organization from his teammate Matt Joyce in Anaheim and his previous teammate Carlos Pena with the Houston Astros. We're ready for baseball in under 3 minutes. It's the Rays and the Red Sox kicking off a 3-game set right around the corner on Sun Sport.
Welcome back inside Tropicana Field. Alex Colomé heads to the mound to make his 12th start of the year tonight, squaring off against the Boston Red Sox. And here is the starting lineup for John Farrell's club, presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Mookie Betts leads it off. Brock Holt and Xander Bogaerts, David Ortiz, Sandoval, Napoli, Alejandro Diaza, Swihart the catcher. Bradley Jr. hits ninth. First pitch of this game is a strike call. We are underway. That first pitch presented by Pinch a Penny. A fastball from Colomé in at 93. 1-1. Betts hitting .276.
Over the last 2 weeks, that batting average has come up over 40 points. As you see that hitting streak, he has been scalding.
Popped up, foul. That's going to carry out a play.
Well, you take a look at Alex Colomé's numbers on the season. We talked about his last outing against the Cleveland Indians and how well he pitched. The key for Alex, something to look for tonight, is keeping that front side, that front shoulder closed as long as possible. That's what allows him to drive the pitch to the desired spot. Very good with that against the Indians, and obviously the line reflected that.
And a cut and a miss. He takes care of a very hot hitter, strikes him out to start this game.
Well, let's take a quick look at the Rays defense and see how that's going to line up tonight. Brought to you by BMW. In the outfield left to right, we have DeJesus, Kiermaier, and Souza Jr. Across the infield third to first, Longoria, Cabrera, Forsythe, and Krause, with Kurt Casale behind the plate.
There's Mark Krause playing first base. He's also seen some action in the outfield. Pitch high to Brock Holt. Holt in there at second base, and as you know, he can play all over the place. Has done everything for them except catch and pitch this year. But in the near future, he's going to be at second base. Dustin Pedroia on the disabled list with a hamstring issue, and so Brock Holt slides into that second spot in the order and plays second base. Two and one.
A little bit of that depth for Boston being tested. Brock Holt, you know he's going to give you a good at-bat, hitting just under 300 on the season. Will battle, and he's a good defender. So you got a guy that can fill in, but you'd like to be able to move him other spots.
Strike on the corner, says Brian Gorman. Gorman, whose father Tom was a major league umpire, also pitched in the major leagues for a brief period, his father, and so Brian, second generation umpire, the crew chief, calls the balls and strikes. We saw that last strike on the corner in, and this one up a bit, the full count. Always interesting to see if umpires live up to what they've done in the past, and if he does, he'll widen the plate a little bit. He'll give you a call on either corner. If you go up, good luck. And that is ball 4 in off the plate. Well, back on Pedroia for a moment. Here is the moment of injury for him. Rounding the bag at first and grabbing the right hamstring. So he's on the DL. Joe Kelly has been optioned to Pawtucket, and Jackie Bradley Jr., who's been having a good year at Pawtucket, is up now, filling a spot on their 25-man roster. He's in the lineup in right field tonight.
And the Red Sox hoping that Jackie Bradley Jr. finally will take that minor league success and translate it to big league success. It's been kind of an up and down roller coaster ride here for Jackie Bradley Jr. first couple of years of big league baseball. Not quite as consistent as Boston would like at this level, but then goes down to the minors, and as you saw the numbers, doing well.
Low covered up by Casale. 1-1. Colomé coming off that outstanding outing in Cleveland, and Kurt Casale was his battery mate then.
Yeah, why mess with this tandem?
There's a strike on the corner. 1-2 to Bogaerts.
You know, sometimes you have that pitcher-catcher relationship where something just clicks, and obviously it did. It was a couple of things. First of all, he worked very well with Casale. Not many times did he shake him off, but also there was that mechanical adjustment that we talked about where he was flying open in his previous start where he gave up 6 earned in 2 innings. Closed that up a little bit, closed the front side up, and the results and the pitches followed right down the line.
Hopper right side. That may be playable, and it is. Krause grabs it for the second out. So Krause playing first base, keeping an eye on that with the roof as the background, and that's always challenging. Right here in the first inning, he gets a pop foul.
Well, welcome to Tropicana Field. Not only has he got to keep his eye on the ball, but he got to keep an eye on not tumbling into the dugout. And he did a nice job. Found where that low wall was, that screen, and then went back up, found the baseball, and closed it out.
He already knows where the low first camera is. We got an up close look at the Rays' new addition right there making that play. Here's David Ortiz. And you see his numbers at 229 and 11 home runs. And through the years, he's been nothing but trouble for the Rays. No ball, no strikes, fastball in the mid-90s there. Our GMC big matchup. The most runs batted in versus the Rays. And that's David Ortiz sitting atop that list of some pretty fair hitters right there. 1-1.
Well, and it doesn't hurt that David Ortiz gets a crack at the Rays pitching staff 19 times a season. And he has been productive over his career and obviously against the Rays. Got to be careful with him.
It's down. Not a lot of at-bats for the Red Sox against Alex Colomé. Ortiz, for an example, is 0 for 2. Bogarts, who just fouled out, now 1 for 3 in his career against Colomé. Holt at first, 2 gone. That is ball 3. Runs it to 3-1.
And everything from Alex Colomé, he's staying away from David Ortiz, saying, if you're going to beat me, big fella, you're going to beat me to the big part of the field. Now, he has the power to do that, but you saw the numbers on David Ortiz not having his normal season. The average down there below 230, trying to pull everything right now. And that's what they're trying to get him to do here.
And that's ball 4. So he takes the walk. 2 bases on balls in the first. 2 men on with 2 men out for Sandoval. Sandoval batting .275. And he is 1 for 2 against Colomé. Things have been better for him recently. That average a couple of weeks ago was under 240. 275 coming into this one. Pitch is upstairs. And that was the cutter that stayed up.
Not quite the breakout that you want to see there. 11 balls, 9 strikes. And that cutter right there by Alex Colomé, more of an aim job as opposed to just, you know, staying close. You get the grip and you fire it in there. You drive that pitch with conviction, and there was no conviction on that one. Up and away, and noticed by Casale, and out he heads.
It's popped up. Left side foul off the fastball. Longoria makes the catch to retire the side. 2 walks, 2 left, no runs. Bottom of the first coming up. Scoreless top half of the first. And the Rays come in to hit in the bottom of the first. Tonight's lineup presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Kevin Kiermaier leads it off, then Joey Butler and Evan Longoria. David DeJesus, Logan Forsythe, and Steven Souza Jr. down the middle. As Jubal Cabrera hits 7th. Mark Krause hits 8th, and Kirk Casale 9th.
Well, taking the mound tonight for the Boston Red Sox is going to be right-hander Rick Porcello, and as you can see, it has been a struggle. Last 6 starts, he's lost all 6 of them. The ERA at 7.5. Going into this stretch, not too bad at a 4-2 record, but it's been a struggle. The sinker has not been sinking. He's not been able to get that pitch to the bottom of the zone consistently.
Here's Kevin Kiermaier bunting it foul right back over the screen for a strike.
And probably wishes he would be swinging on that pitch, and that has been the problem. Porcello's going to go with that first pitch, sinker down and away. That ball stayed up and away, and that has been the problem.
Well, with all the makeover of the Red Sox, Porcello, a big addition. They thought he would be the guy at the top of the order.
Well, and the dead giveaway there, 2 things. Number 1, you trade Yoenis Cespedes for him. And number 2, as soon as he comes over, you hand him a 4-year deal north of $80 million. And so he has been relied on heavily and just has not been performing as Boston thought that he would.
2-2. More hits than innings pitched, as you pointed out. The earned run average over 5.5. Out of play, holds the count at 2-2.
Well, for Porcello, we talk about watching Alex Colomé stay close. For Porcello, the fastball, see it down in the zone. That's what to look for with him. He leaves it up consistently. The Rays will get good swings all night.
There's a chopper, and that's going to go foul. Swihart made a swipe at it with his hand, but did not connect. And so it's a foul ball.
Well, and on that particular play, Boston, very fortunate. Your best play was to not make a play, because once this was chopped by Kevin Kiermaier, no way you're throwing him out. You can only hope it goes foul, and there's that swipe you talked about. He just did swing and miss.
Yeah, if he makes contact with that, he's kicking himself right now. So the count's still 2-2. Oh, strike 3 call on the corner.
I'll tell you what, that was a front door sinker, and that had late, nasty movement. Kevin Kiermaier is going to give up on this pitch, and watch at the very end. That just comes back and catches that corner. That is perfect pitch.
Yeah, and if he can make that pitch, because he might be able to expand that a little bit with Gorman behind the plate. So we'll see. 1 out. And here's Joey Butler. The pitch is down.
That pitch was nasty enough.
Yes,
it was.
He
does not need to get any more than that right there. And if
that's why it's scary if he does.
Boy, if he realizes that and can go there, it could be a long night.
Two balls, no strikes. Three and 0, so 3 straight pitches out of the zone with Evan Longoria on deck. And ball 4. So after that great pitch to Kiermaier, a 4-pitch walk to Butler.
Let's take a quick look at the Boston defense, brought to you by BMW. In the outfield left to right, we have Alejandro De Aza, Mookie Betts, and Jackie Bradley Jr. Across the infield, third to first, Pablo Sandoval, Xander Bogaerts, Brock Holt, and Mike Napoli with Blake Swihart behind the plate.
Longoria starts the evening hitting .274. And there's a ball.
That's Evan Longoria being disciplined against a sinker ball, because that pitch was right down the middle of the plate, but it's down. That's the one that Porcello wants you to swing at and beat into the ground. Evan Longoria, early in the count, looking for something that's elevated that he can try and drive here.
Two and 0, 6 straight now out of the zone for Porcello, which is not like him. Especially on top of the pitch he made to Kiermaier.
Yeah, I mean, just 21, now 22 walks on the season.
Ground ball to second. Holt Bogarts one. First base, he throws a double play ball. And after 6 straight pitches out of the zone, the double play ends the inning. No score. We go to the top of the second inning. Boston coming in to hit. Mike Napoli's going to lead it off. Right now, let's go to Lou Caputo with a very special offer.
Thanks, Dwayne. Yeah, we've got our Flex Pack takeover tonight, guys, and it is going incredibly well. Everybody wants to save money, apparently. Imagine that. If you buy a Flex Pack for 3, 6, or 9 games, guess what? You're going to save up to 50% off the cost of those tickets. You're going to get savings on your parking, and on top of that, you get to choose a free gift. One of these items you see right here with the lovely Ray girls down there. Look at them. Yes, all these items. And if you call during the broadcast tonight, guess what? You're going to receive this magic wristband right here. That's going to get you into concerts at the end of the summer. Call now before the end of the game, because these are going to be all gone. Back to you.
All right, thank you. 1 strike to count on Mike Napoli. Alejandro Diaz is going to lead it, or going to follow, and then Blake Swihart. One and one to count to Napoli. Cutter is wide. 2-1. Did Napoli go on the appeal? He did not.
Well, there was an awful lot of rotation in the trunk. A lot of movement, and yes, he did go.
He did indeed. Boy, that bat was out in front of the plate. 3-2 now. Brian Gorman working the plate. Adam Hamari at first. Trip Gibson at second, and Mark Carlson is the umpire at third. Alejandro Diaza on deck. See another full count pitch. Rays up by a game and a half on New York, 2 up on Baltimore and Toronto, and Boston 9 back. Foul ball. The Blue Jays, who, as you know, just left here, have taken a 4-1 lead at home tonight against Texas. Mark Burley's pitching for Toronto tonight. Encarnacion has belted a home run.
That offense shows no signs of slowing down.
And ball 4, 3 walks already issued by Colomé, and this one opens the inning.
And that was a walk right there. There was a lot of power on power going throughout that at bat, and Colomé tried to overthrow that last fastball. Just came unglued a little bit mechanically, tried to hump up, and the ball sailed on him.
Well, those are the things, these walks, you saw the look on Jim Hickey's face. They drive pitching coaches up the wall.
You've got great stuff, and you cannot defend the walk. Free base run. You know, with your stuff, let them put it in play. Go ahead. I know they're swinging the bats well, but what you did your last time out.
There's a strike to Diaza.
And he's got that fastball in the mid-90s. We've seen the cutter tonight at 89. The slider's going to be in the mid-80s. Working a changeup every now and then. He's got weapons.
Oh, 2. Red Sox come in 10 games under 500. And that's principally because they've struggled inside the American League East. John Farrell's team is 11-23 against the rest of the American League East. Toward left center, cutting across. Kiermaier can't get there. That's going to go to the wall. DeJesus tracks it down. Napoli's going to score on a double by Diaza, and it's 1-0 Boston.
That ball, and you can't fault Kevin Kiermaier because we know he covers a ton of ground and he goes all out all the time. But you could see that ball just continued to slice away from him, and here it is. He's tracking it, it's slicing, and he just cannot get there. And that's saying something. Surprised that Diaza only ended up at second base. That ball out in left center field and having to be chased down by DeJesus.
So here's Blake Swihart, the young catcher. So for Diaza, his 9th run batted in, and this is 17th game with Boston. And 1-0 to Swihart. Well, a great effort by Kiermaier. Back into the screen. 1-1. Well, the former Ray Ryan Hannigan on the disabled list with a fractured right hand. And that's given Swihart more playing time.
The Boston Red Sox think very highly of Blake Swihart, hoping that he could inject a little bit of life into this ball club. Change up here. Watch Casale. Off the top of that. You know, even though there's padding there, you're still going to feel the brunt of that baseball just above your kneecap.
Right side, and Forsythe step into the outfield with the shift, protecting against anything going through the hole on the right side. Diaza advances to third, and one out with Jackie Bradley Jr. coming up.
And Jim Hickey out to the mound to talk to Calamay. Jackie Bradley Jr. just getting recalled by the Boston Red Sox, was hot in AAA. So you're going to go over the scouting report here, because obviously an important hitter with a runner on third. And this is where you really have to pitch after the productive out by Swihart.
You know, this gives you a great idea for the Rays. Every run they score and every run they give up is so valuable. And when you look at the differential, runs scored, runs allowed, a trip like this to the mound is a great indicator of how valuable every run in a game involving the Rays will be.
When you look throughout Major League Baseball, teams that have a similar run differential than the Rays, they're not in first place by a game and a half. And so the margin for error is razor thin.
Infield up. And a cut and a miss. So the leadoff walk has cost Calamay a run. Diaz is at third with one out. The Rays trying to cut off any potential second run in the inning. Fastball taken, and just like that, Calamay's ahead 0-2.
Well, you get to these counts like this, and there's that wide fastball you're talking about, Dwayne. Although I don't know if I would say that Calamay's been beating up that strike zone consistently. He got that call. Now you go for the punch out.
And it's down and in. Threw him a curveball. We've seen the fastball and the cutter, that little slider, and now the curveball. Fly ball into left. De Jesus will make the catch, the tag. Diaza heads to the plate with a second run.
And you know, a veteran pitcher throwing that pitch right there is going to try to throw it a little bit further off the plate. You know, Alex has to recognize that the second strike was a fastball a few inches off the plate that he got the call. Now, you've already put into Jackie Bradley Jr.'s head that that's a strike. So you got to go out at least that far, maybe further, especially in a 1-2 count. He leaves this one over the plate, and that makes it easy for Bradley Jr. to just go out there and poke that thing into left field and drive a run in.
Mookie Betts chops it on the ground to Cabrera. His throw in time to retire the side. A 2-run inning for Boston, 2-0. Brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. By Morgan Auto Group. And by Circle K. It's the summer of '69 at Circle K. Get your favorite size Polar Pop for just 69 cents all summer long. There's David DeJesus. Takes that first pitch for a ball. DeJesus, Forsythe, and Souza Jr. Rays facing Rick Porcello, a 15-game winner last year with Detroit. 1-1. The Rays saw Porcello back in the first week of May when he pitched 7 shutout innings against him, didn't walk anybody. Shot toward left center field. Betts on the run, and he gets there. That had some slice to it as well, but not enough to get away from Betts.
Yeah, Mookie Betts did a nice job of tracking that ball down because it was struck well by DeJesus. Got some pretty good carry and some slice. And look at that slight adjustment right there to be able to go back and make a nice running catch.
Remember when we first saw him?
Oh, yeah.
He came up. You could tell.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. They've got a couple of guys over here that are worth watching because of not only ability but effort. Betts is one of them. And Holt's the other guy who plays everywhere. Mookie Betts has been really special for Boston.
You can just, and you're right, you can see it early and you can tell. Forget the physical tools. It's the want to.
Yep.
It's the battle. You know, Brock Holt be willing to do anything, get dirty, play hard. Same with Mookie Betts.
Forsythe fouls it back. It's 1-2.
In fact, you know, coming into last year, all the talk was Jackie Bradley Jr., Jackie Bradley Jr., and then all of a sudden you get a peek at the Boston center fielder right now and you say, building block, I would think.
Yeah, you know, a couple of outstanding young center fielders in this series with Kiermaier for the Rays, who's so special. Base hit up the middle. Forsythe's aboard, and the Rays have their first hit, their second base runner. So they're fun to watch in this series when you put Kiermaier and Betts out there in center field. 2 young players that figure to be around. And be a lot of fun to watch. Steven Souza Jr. Fun to watch when he launches one. 14 home runs. He leads all rookies in home runs and leads rookies in runs batted in. And he had a good cut at that pitch. Wow.
That's the pitch that you dream of off Rick Porcello. A fastball that's just below the belt, right down the middle, no sink whatsoever, and you just miss it.
Strike 2.
That may be a pitch that's part of the same dream.
You can't believe you got it again. And time granted there. Rays down 2-0. Cleveland and Baltimore tied 1-1 in the top of the third at Baltimore. One ball, 2 strikes. Well, so far, Porcello made a great pitch to get Kiermaier, and he got a double play to get out of the first, but he's not the pitcher he wants to be so far tonight.
No, the same problems that we saw the last 6 starts where he's really struggled. That sinker has just not been consistent. He made one to Evan Longoria when he needed to. But other than that, you get the good movement down like that, and he's been below the zone. And when he's tried to raise it a little bit, it stayed flat and up. And there's the difference in the numbers. Big.
341 to 561 in the ERA department.
Well, and that lack of consistent sink on the two-seamers, what has led to the influx of home runs and more of them.
Strike 3 call. Souza out number 2.
He's made pitches so far tonight that in big spots. You know, here he is right there on the corner. I mean, a perfect pitch. You go back and you think about that pitch to Kiermaier down and in, and the sinker to Evan Longoria to get the double play. So,
yeah, that's to the same spot. One left-handed hitter, the other a right-handed hitter. And it comes back and gets the corner. Here's Asdrubal Cabrera. Yankees are on the road tonight. They play the Astros in Houston. The ball, no strikes. One on the Rays shortstop. Cabrera had a 2-hit game in the game Tuesday against the Blue Jays, including the home run in the 8th that turned out to be the deciding run in that 4-3 victory. One and one with a runner at first and 2 outs in the bottom of the 2nd. Runner takes off and the pitch is fouled out of play.
Well, there has been a lot of activity against Porcello on the base paths. 15 stolen base attempts, 12 successful.
And that's something that's different than a year ago. There were 14 attempts all of last year. 7 of those were caught stealing. So a lot more action this year.
It's one area where Boston really has struggled the last number of years, is slowing down opposing teams' running game. That has been something that's been consistent. It hasn't mattered who's been behind the plate, who's been out on the mound. It has not been a strong point of this ball club.
Two and two. And he tried to get that pitch to come back and did not. So the count is full.
Boy, the same pitch he went after Kevin Kiermaier with to start the ball game. That was very, very close, but does not get the call. And now full count. Logan Forsythe will be on the move. Try to shoot a gap here.
Chop foul behind Rocco Baldelli. Cabrera trying to keep the inning going. Mark Krause, the latest addition, is on deck. There's a ground ball, a shot off the mid of Napoli, and then bounding into right field. Couple of hops and tracked down by Holt. The Rays are going to have men on the corners.
Boy, that ball well struck by Asdrubal Cabrera, and it gets redirected by Napoli, and a heck of a job. Forsythe off and running, and watch Brock Holt dive behind and keep that ball from dribbling any further and keep the Rays at first and third. That's a good hustle play by Brock Holt.
So the ball hit hard, and the Rays have men at first and third. Yeah, you're right about that, about Holt. And who knows, if that ball gets by him, Forsythe might have a chance to score. Here's Mark Krause. And the pitch is a breaking ball and a strike. Krause out of Ohio. You see what his numbers were at Salt Lake. AAA, 289 with 4 home runs.
Get off of me.
How about that? There's a pitch coming in on him.
He's like, you get the call over here with the Rays after the trade. First pitch hook, and then a fastball right on his thumbs. Thanks.
2 strikes to the count. And that's fair. Up the right field line. Forsythe scores. Cabrera's headed to third. They're going to stop him there on the double by Krause. Throw back in, the ball loose, but it's backed up by Porcello. Rays get a run, and Mark Krause on an 0-2 pitch doubles up the right field line.
The previous pitch was a fastball in. This was in, down, and in. And look at him just drop the head. That's all it was. Drop the head, and Mark Krause, first at bat with the Rays, and boy, does he come up with a big one. How he squeezed that between Mike Napoli and first base and kept it fair. Impressive. Hit it hard, and there the Rays go.
So he's paying dividends already.
Why wouldn't he? That's what the Rays do.
Into the lineup, and a big double his first time up. Here's Kurt Casale. And a breaking ball starts Casale with a strike. Forsythe has crossed the plate. Cabrera is at third. Krause at second. And now Casale is in the hole. 2 strikes.
Halfway through the swing, Casale's brain was telling him abort mission. That was a good sinker by Porcello.
Little looper up the right side and out of the reach of Napoli in foul territory. Broken bat, and Napoli landed face first, trying to extend that glove hand to get that one.
Boy, all out effort and nothing to show for it but rug burn.
Casale fouling that one off to earn another pitch. A ball, 2 strikes. Well, the Rays have answered the 2 runs in the top of the inning with a run in the bottom of the second, and now have men at second and third. Ground ball headed to short. Bogarts makes the throw to first, and the Rays are finished. But they get on the board with a run. Driven home by Mark Krause on an 0-2 pitch. Right past first and up the right field line. It's 2-1 Boston. And we go to the third. There's Brock Holt set to lead it off, the T-Mobile game changer. And the 27-year-old Holt out of Fort Worth, Texas, only major league player to hit for the cycle on the 16th against the Braves. And he almost positions himself with the cycle. He's played in every position except pitcher and catcher.
And you get the feeling that he probably could do both of those.
Without a doubt.
Emergency situation. Just an all-around baseball player. And really, you know, no matter where you put him, there's no letdown defensively. Really handles himself well at each and every position, which is obviously why he gets the opportunities.
To look at the cycle. Off the green monster. This one into right center. It's this one out over the monster.
And now you got the tough one. But look where he goes. That's where you go and get it at Fenway Park.
The Pirates had him originally, and the Red Sox got him from Pittsburgh. Well, every team would love to have this guy.
He is the type of player that really every team covets now for a lot of different reasons. No question.
In the center, Kiermaier makes the catch. One away. Yeah, you know, the Rays, I guess you could say that they may have pioneered that. I know that that was on their minds when they tried to remake this team, and they wound up winning, going to the World Series in 08, trying to make a team as versatile as possible, create depth through that. And other clubs have seen the wisdom in that. Bogarts fouls it back for a strike. Ben Zobrist did such a great job wherever the Rays played him. And the Rays continue to make that a concentrated effort to make these parts interchangeable. When you think about that, for years, baseball was not interchangeable. You had a position and that was it. Maybe you had a guy who could play second, short, and third, and you thought, wow, that's a great utility guy. It's all different.
No, utility guys now, infield, outfield.
Yeah.
You got to do both.
Souza Jr. will go back toward the track and make the catch on this one. Bogarts is the second out.
Yeah, it was, everybody has their own position. You have your spot in the batting order. Yeah. Now that, you know, from day to day matchups, lefty, righty, you've got different lineups, guys playing different positions. You're hitting in different spots. You may have a couple of guys that are cemented in, but other than that, it's moving parts all over the place.
David Ortiz walked his first time. Takes ball one.
I love the plan here against Ortiz, working him away. A guy that's having a down season according to his standards. Wants to do damage and wants to do things in a hurry. So he wants to pull first and foremost. So you stay away from him. See if he'll continue to try to do that for you.
2-0. Three walks tonight given up by Colomé. 2 in the first inning, and the second was to Ortiz. In the right field to the right of Forsythe, and he got it through the shift.
And if you go back and look at the pitch location, trying to go away, and that ball ended up out over the plate. Easier pitch for Ortiz to pull. See where Casali's set up and see where it ends up. Middle. And David Ortiz is right up on top of the plate anyway. And he smokes that ball past Forsythe.
That 2-out base hit gets Sandoval up there. Toward left center field. Kiermaier on the run is there at the track and makes the catch to retire Sandoval. No runs, a hit, one left. Bottom of the third coming, 2-1 Boston. Brought to you again tonight by Clean Chris Coors Light, and you can see where the Red Sox pitching stacks up. Last in ERA, the starters ERA at 4.86.
Those are definitely cold facts, and not at all what Boston had in mind when assembling this pitching staff.
Yeah, they brought in new arms with the idea that they had one ground ball starter after another.
And you know what's interesting about that? When you look at the staff as a whole, their starting rotation, they're 5th in the American League in ground ball fly ball ratio. But when you look at each individual pitcher, and I'm counting Joe Kelly because he's been a part of the staff for most of the year now. When you look at each pitcher individually, only Clay Buchholz is outperforming his career numbers on ground ball ratio. Everybody else, like Rick Porcello, career coming into this season, he was a 2-to-1 guy.
Yeah.
Ground ball to fly ball. This year, he's barely over 1. I mean, he's almost a coin flip this year. So it's a big difference. These guys have been good as a group, but individually underperforming.
This time Porcello got over there to take the toss from Napoli. 1 away. Speaking of pitching, Todd has a word on that. Let's check in with Todd right now.
Dwayne, thanks. A couple of guys the Rays were hoping to have back here before the end of the homestand. Some good news with Erasmo Ramirez. He throws a bullpen today. Everything looks good. He is anticipated, as you see Erasmo Ramirez throwing that bullpen before the game, anticipated to pitch in that Cleveland series. And they were also expecting to see Matt Moore, maybe just a day delayed right now because he gets rained out. What was to be his final start at AAA Durham in Columbus tonight gets rained out. So we'll get more on Matt Moore. But those two guys should be back in the rotation. Erasmo really just missed one turn. He was supposed to pitch tonight. Guys, back to you.
Yeah, the word on Ramirez, he was very encouraged and figures he'll be in there.
That is really good news because groins, they can be tricky. I mean, if you get it good, it's weeks. It could be a month. And so obviously low grade and really good news.
2-1 to count to Joey Butler. He continues to stay right in there in the batter's box. Walked on 4 pitches his first time. It's a strike, says Brian Gorman.
That's the pitch that Porcello wants against these right-handed hitters. He starts it just off the plate away, has that little sink, take it back to the outside corner. Very tough for a righty to do anything against it.
And a cut and a miss on the breaking ball. A curveball. 2 up, 2 down.
First really effective curveball of the night for Porcello. The Rays have had some pretty good takes against that pitch, not chasing it, but he ripped this one nice, and the change of speed had Butler out in front.
Yeah, that's a good job of a pitcher executing there. When you say if a pitcher executes his pitches, he'll get hitters, and that's how he does it. Fastball for a strike to Longoria. Oh, 2. Two gone, bases empty. Boston got 2 runs in the second. The Rays got a run in their half. We're down the bottom of the third.
Couple of fastballs trying to run him in under the swing of Longoria. Didn't get it. I would expect something breaking away, something hard, maybe the slider.
And he got him. Went with the fastball there. Strikes him out. 1, 2, 3 go the Rays. Down 2-1. Right now, tonight's great moment in MLB history presented by Geico. Just a day late, off yesterday on the 25th of 2010. Edwin Jackson of the Diamondbacks no-hit the Rays. The Diamondbacks right-hander threw 149 pitches, walked 8 and hit another batter along the way to that no-hitter. And those shots that we just saw there, those are the best shots I've ever seen of that no-hitter, because we called it from center field. We were so far away you could barely see the pitches, so I was happy that the truck had those so I could actually get a pretty good look at some of those pitches.
Well, then maybe later tonight they'll show a little bit of footage from Rick Porcello's 3-hit shutout last August the 20th here at the Trop, because I believe you and I were on the porch for that start.
That would be good to see, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It's 1-1 to count to Mike Napoli. Speaking of Porcello, we noticed the last couple innings, or last couple hitters in the last inning, I should say, in the third. Here's a guy who has struggled this year, as his numbers would indicate. And he appeared maybe to be that way again tonight. But those two at-bats of Butler and Longoria, you hope that he can go back to the dugout and forget what he just did to those two hitters.
Yeah, well put, because the final couple of pitches to Joey Butler, you think about the sinker away, then the curveball right off of that, and then Evan Longoria, working that sinker down and underneath his hands, getting a couple of foul balls, and then when you think he's going to go with the sweeping breaking ball away, he goes right back to that sinker on the outside corner and down and gets another strikeout. So you hope that's the anomaly tonight, because that was pretty good sequences right there.
All of a sudden you went, wait a minute. So we'll see in the bottom of the fourth what he does. It's amazing how that can happen. A guy struggling, and really in the span of just 2, 3, 4 pitches, it can all turn around for him.
Especially a veteran pitcher that knows what his keys to a good delivery are, and maybe he's close and he's like, man, I'm right there, just on the verge, and then all of a sudden makes that final last tiny adjustment and everything falls into place. And it's been a struggle. I mean, it's been a struggle for him the last month.
Well, there's ball 4 to Napoli to open the fourth. He opened the second with a walk, and that led to 2 runs. And you know this better than anybody. When that pitcher realizes that he makes a couple pretty good pitches, he really feels it more than intellectually thinks it, doesn't he?
Yeah. I mean, you're always thinking, but when you combine that with feeling it, you get in that kind of a zone, and it's really the only time, and it that the game feels easy. This game never really feels easy, but there are times where it does, where you're like, you guys have no chance tonight, none, because the mind is in sync with the body, and I'm able to put the ball. It's like playing the video game. It's like taking the little X and moving it down to the corner and hitting, boom, and there's the fastball, and it goes right to the corner. Then taking the breaking ball just off and backdoor. It's really like playing a video game, and it's a great feeling. You hope that Porcello has not found it based on those last 2 ABs.
Fly ball into right off Diaz's bat. Souza Jr. there to make the catch. One away, and Napoli's back to first.
But even when you get into those types of situations and you feel like that, you can't put it on autopilot either. You can't just say, man, I'm feeling good, I've got a great game plan, and take a pitch or 2 off, because those will be the ones you miss. You've still got to lock it in every pitch, concentrate to the spot, execute it like you said. It's all about execution. Have the best game plan in the world. If you don't go out and do it, it's not going to matter much. But certainly that makes it easier.
Mike Swihart fouls the first pitch away, strike 1. Well, as you mentioned the first time around, Swihart, they are very high on him. They really thought that Christian Vasquez would do a big part of the catching. He had Tommy John surgery. And then Hannigan went on the DL. Swihart, a little ground ball, and it's going to slip through the middle. Napoli's going to go to third. And it's first and third.
And you could see Logan Forsythe doing everything he could not to make a play on that ball, but just to get to it and keep it out of the glove of Kevin Kiermaier, because that would have kept Napoli at second base. Boy, he's hustling, just cannot get there. And that's what allows him to get over to third.
Boy, those walks, those leadoff walks Napoli's now at third. First and third for Jackie Bradley Jr. There goes the runner. Throw down to second. He is out, and they steal a run. Napoli comes home. Swihart caught at second, and the Rays give up a run for the out.
Boy, I have not seen this play too often, and this is a staple of Little League baseball. And the Rays have been so good at cutting down opposing base stealers. And Napoli right there, no hesitation. And Kurt Casale, he was up and at him at second base, never gave a blink down there to Napoli. Not like you have a whole lot of time anyway. And he got his man at second, but Napoli walked in.
So the Red Sox make it a 2-run game again. And strike 3 called. Bradley out of there, but the leadoff walk twice has cost the Rays a run. The order coming up, down by 2 runs again. It'll be DeJesus, Forsythe, and Souza Jr. Let's go out to Lou Caputo once again.
Thanks, Wayne. Let's talk about savings, flexibility, and rewards, all right? The first thing is when you buy a Flex Pack in our ticket takeover tonight for either 3, 6, or 9 games, guess what? You're going to save up to 50% on the cost of a single ticket, all right? You're going to save money on parking as well. Flexibility, there are no blackout dates at all. You can pick any games you want. And rewards, we got them. Take a look at everything we've got out here. You get a free gift when you pick up your Flex Pack tonight for either 3, 6, or 9 games. And you get the wristband for the concert series as well. Back to you, Dwayne.
Thank you. David DeJesus leading off and takes the first pitch for a strike. I think Lou Caputo is about the spot where we've called a couple of games from. Bogarts takes care of that. And the leadoff hitter for the Rays out short to first here in the bottom of the 4th.
It's an action spot, Dwayne. That's where you go for action. That's where action can come to you.
How is it that he's chased off Todd from that area? You know, Todd's kind of, put down roots out there.
He has. Lou Caputo right now, high energy guy. He's got items and wares to sell and hawk. And Todd is just, he's been chased off.
Yep.
He'll be back.
No doubt about that. 1-0 the count to Logan Forsythe. 2-0. 2-1 the count to Forsythe. Up the middle and a base hit into center for Logan. He is 2 for 2.
Carbon copy. Logan Forsythe using the middle of the field here tonight for those 2 hits. The Rays trying to answer Boston. They're running the top half of the inning, and Logan steps into it, drills that ball right back up the box.
Steven Souza Jr. becomes the potential tying run. And he's under it, pops it into shallow left. Bogaerts goes out there and makes the catch. Porcello with the breaking ball against Souza.
It was a slow breaking ball, and it got Souza Jr. out in front just a little bit. Wasn't the best pitch as far as location, but it was the change of speed which retired Steven. Oh, he's saying to himself right now, if I could have waited back just a hair longer, this is a tie ball game.
Now it's Asdrubal Cabrera who's single in the second inning with Forsythe aboard. Set up the first, and to this point the only run for the Rays. Runner takes off. Pitch is low, and the throw is not in time. Head first. Forsythe goes in with a steal.
Blake Swihart is going to throw this ball as if he's trying to approach triple digits. Forsythe picked a good pitch to run on. It was a breaking ball. We said there's a lot of action against Porcello. I mean, Blake Swihart cuts that thing loose. One hop, Bogaerts handles it. This is going to be close. Right off the helmet. They're going to take a look at it. Ooh, he may have gotten him too. Tag on the helmet before the left hand got to the bag. Right here. You'll see it. Right there. Ooh, that's close. Well, the one thing the Rays have going for him is on the field, he's going to be called safe. So is it clear and convincing enough to overturn that? We shall see.
Yeah, the burden of proof is greater on the opposition if you have the call initially in your favor. So right now it's a stolen base for Logan Forsythe. Brian Gorman and Trip Gibson donning the headsets. The pitch was a strike to Cabrera. Forsythe had singled, and with 2 outs on the first pitch to Cabrera, he was on the move after his 8th stolen base of the year.
And it was the bill of the helmet that got Logan Forsythe, or he ran into some trouble. Right there.
I think it's going to be too close.
Yeah.
Oh, they're going to call him out.
Wow.
So it's a caught stealing. How about that? So a caught stealing will end the inning, and here's another look from another angle. the 5th inning now. Boston with this 2-run lead. And you can see Logan Forsythe trying to steal second, and from the overhead shot.
Yeah, I don't think that one you can tell anything. There's one shot where you can see that the hand, I don't even think this one is close enough.
It just, to me, it's hard to tell if we're looking for clear and convincing. You can say, well, the preponderance of the evidence seems to show that maybe he's out. But we've seen cases determined on the basis of clear and convincing or not overturned because it wasn't clear and convincing.
And here's the thing. You can say clear and convincing all you want. It's still subjective to whoever's in charge of determining clear and convincing.
Yep.
Maybe clear and convincing to me, not so much to you, and vice versa. And so whoever's in New York,
yep,
you know.
And we're getting word that that last look when they slowed it down was the one that determined that he was caught stealing.
And there's another one that and looking back on it, I thought that he was out, but not on that shot. There was another shot that I thought was way more clear and convincing than that, and that's what happens.
You make your own point right there.
Yeah. Yep.
Clear and convincing is subjective. It'd be interesting to look at all the shots and have people think, well, no, this is the one that determined, and then it turns out that there's another one different than the one you thought would make the determination. This is getting awfully confusing.
It is. It is. And by the way, this is a subject that's starting to get some legs around baseball, discussing this clear and convincing and exactly how replay is working this year.
Souza Jr. down in the bullpen. Look out! He made the catch and winds up in the stands, going over head first. But he comes out of there with the baseball, and he comes out of there.
And that's the key. Well, there are a lot of obstacles down there that Steven Souza Jr. is going to have to maneuver around, through, and over, starting with the mounds. And let's take a look at it. A lot going on.
Now move the chair out of the way. After the catch, he's coming in.
Someone lost a beverage. Nice play. Maintaining concentration and staying healthy.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Tough enough to be around the mound and then over that low wall just beyond the bullpen. Make sure the jaw and the teeth are all in proper alignment. Shoulders are good.
Gonna need those.
Yep, the elbow's fine. Wow. Oh, 2 now, the count to hold. So Betts retired on that great catch down the right field line in foul territory by Souza Jr. So Betts in with a 12-game hitting streak, 0 for 3 tonight. And this one fouled right off Holt's foot.
Boy, he got himself good too.
Boy, if that didn't hurt so much, it would make you so angry.
It does. It both. I mean, you see he's got that little padding over the shoe. That hit above the shoe line right off the front of that ankle.
Yep.
And you better believe that he's a real happy camper right now.
Back in there with a 1-2 count. Ground ball right side. Forsythe handles that easily enough with the shift. So 2 outs in the 5th inning.
Well, the Boston Red Sox can ill afford Brock Holt to be going down with any type of injury after Dustin Pedroia with a hamstring and noticeable limp as he comes off the field. You understand why.
John Farrell checking with him as he walked by. Fastball, first pitch is a strike to Xander Bogaerts. Bogaerts 0 for 2. Top of the order really hasn't been an issue for Colomé. Down in the order, something else. He's given up 4 walks, 2 leadoff walks to Napoli, and they've converted those to runs.
This Boston lineup, they lost the ball game yesterday to the Baltimore Orioles, but the bottom of the lineup yesterday did a lot of damage against the Orioles. And that has been the part of the lineup that has given Alex Colomé the most trouble all season long, which just doesn't make any sense. Because if you're mowing through 1 through 5, 1 through 6, well, 7, 8, 9 shouldn't be doing much off you at all.
The chop. Great pickup, but it's not going to be in time with the throw to first. Bogaerts has himself an infield hit. A ball like that almost impossible to make a play on. Longoria tried, but you just can't get to the ball quickly enough.
No, the chopper, any kind of speed at all, and you know it. You know when that ball comes off the turf that you're going to be in big trouble here, and Evan has to go a long way, and it's not close.
Here's David Ortiz. He has walked and singled. And he takes a strike.
Fake the bunt. You take that all day from David Ortiz. Bunt all day long. Not worried about him bunting. You're worried about him going into the seats.
Bogaerts hit first. A strike to count to Ortiz. The Blue Jays now have a 9-2 lead at home over the Texas Rangers. Encarnacion, as we mentioned earlier, hit a home run. Russell Martin has hit one. They just don't stop. One and one now. That's why, you play 12 innings and hold them to 1 run. You certainly hope to win. They scored 3 runs on Tuesday, and the Rays won 1 of those and lost 1.
Yeah, that's what's frustrating. You're right, because that's a true high-powered offense, especially in this day and age, averaging almost 5.5 runs a game. Added again tonight. Couldn't wait to get out of here so they could go score against somebody, and still they were able to win 2 out of 3 here. That's why if that team does anything pitching-wise, whether it's internal or external, bringing somebody in, if they get their pitching in order, look out, because they score.
Yeah, they've scored 414 runs right now on the year. Fly ball into left. That's going to send DeJesus back to the track to grab it and retire the side. Nice running catch by the veteran left fielder, David DeJesus. 1 hit and a man left on base. The catch by Susie Jr. to open the inning. 3-1 Boston. Baltimore.
Thanks very much. This is that time in the game where I've got to tell everybody to get on the phone right now, call 888-FAN-RAISE, and get in on this offer for our ticket takeover for the Flex Packs. Because if you don't do that, ladies, let's show them you're not going to get one of these magic bracelets, which are only available till the end of the show tonight. These are going to get you on the field for the Casey Musgraves concert coming up, Steve Aoki, plus you get all the regular savings, all sorts of things, but you've got to take advantage of it before the end of the game. Back to you.
One strike to count to Asdrubal Cabrera. Porcello's going to try to make this play. No chance. And Cabrera is aboard to start the bottom of the fifth.
Absolutely no chance to make a play here. Look at Cabrera, too. He sold it with the little leg kick and then lays down a beauty.
So the Rays pick up their fifth hit of the night, and for the first time in this game, they put the leadoff man aboard. Mark Krause drove in the run with a double in the second inning up here. With Cabrera at first, nobody out in the fifth. Ball two. Krause checked in time. Mark Carlson on the call.
Boy, make him elevate this pitch. You want to swing the bat 2-0, but don't go down after something low in the zone.
Two and one.
That's all Porcello is thinking right now. Something down, get the ball hit on the ground and try to squeeze out a double play here.
Takes the count to 2-2. Max Scherzer pitching tonight for the Nationals in Philadelphia. Had a perfect game through 5 1/3. Gave up a base hit, broken up by Freddie Galvis. Foul ball. That's turning out to be the same story each time out for him now, Scherzer.
We go back. Obviously, the last start was the no-hitter. Lost the perfect game on the hit batter. But how about the start before that? 16 punch-outs. I mean, he's on quite the run right now. And the one Washington starter the Rays didn't see.
Good.
Right.
Krause out on strikes. Fastball got him.
Well, he finally comes up in the zone here, but you can see a four-seamer. And that one just up and over the swing of Mark Krause.
There's Kurt Casale. Cabrera's back in. Rays starting to get a little action in their bullpen here as they hit in the bottom of the fifth. Xavier Cedeno is up. Apparently, the Red Sox think that that move over to first was close enough to take another look.
And you got to feel pretty strongly, too, on a play like that.
So they're going to challenge this one. They challenged the attempted steal and the initial safe call in the 4th inning at second base with Forsythe running. That was overturned. And now I don't see it, but let's take a look at this one. Ooh, how about that?
Well, I'll give it to you that it's close. Have you been convinced? I have not.
See, I personally think it's very difficult to have one clear and convincing. Now, you can make an argument for almost anything, and yeah, that was clear and convincing, and that's the way we're going to call it. I think unless it's so obvious that anything close, it's difficult to be clear and convincing.
Yeah, when does the glove get to the arm?
Yeah. And it goes back, and we've talked about this before, to depth. I mean, high definition is great. We get great and better all the time on the video end of these things. They still don't give you true depth. It's a two-dimensional situation, and we're trying to convey a three-dimensional activity. And so
you need that one angle where you sit there and go, oh yeah. You know, eyes pop, and there you go. That didn't happen.
And I can see that you could put two different camera shots together, and those two together could give you some depth because you're looking at it from two different angles. But unless you can do that, I think it's, you know, as you said, subjective. Still subjective.
It is. No matter what kind of labeling you want to put on it, and clear and convincing is what they chose. But it still is only needs to be clear and convincing to whoever's looking at it. And, you know, you and I have had enough disagreements up here. We haven't agreed, and we're sitting 2 feet away from each other.
Absolutely. High drive, base hit into center for Casale, and that moves Cabrera down to second. So the Rays with a little something cooking now for the top of the order. First and second, one away. And here's Kevin Kiermaier. One ball, no strikes. Kiermaier looking for his first hit. Boy, this would be a great time for it. Ground ball over the mound. The shortstop Bogart steps on the bag and throws to first. And the double play ends this threat. We're through 5, 3-1 Boston. into scoring in the second. Alejandro Diaz's double scored Mike Napoli, who had walked to open the inning, and after ground ball moved Diaz to third. Jackie Bradley Jr. got him home with a fly ball to the left. The Rays got a run in the bottom half of the inning. Logan Forsythe scored on the two-out double by new addition Mark Krause. That made it 2-1. And a leadoff walk in the fourth led to the Red Sox pulling this off. On the caught stealing at second, Napoli scored from third to again make it a 2-run game. So it's 3-1 as we move into the sixth. Pablo Sandoval leads off. First pitch, a fastball for a strike. Popped up down the left field side. Longoria crossing into foul territory, making the call, and he got it. I'm going to tell you, that's not an easy play for a third baseman, and he made it look almost routine.
A tough angle over his shoulder, just in foul territory, and all the way down by the visiting bullpen mound. So he's got to go a long way at an odd angle. And you're right.
He's calling people off, going, yeah, it's a tough angle. I got it.
Stay away. Well, I guess that's why you have a couple of gold gloves up on the mantle. Yep. You can make those plays look routine.
Napoli goes after the first pitch. Cutter, and he misses it. He has walked twice tonight and scored 2 runs. Now 1 ball, 1 strike. Indians lead the Orioles 2-1 in the bottom of the 6th inning in Baltimore. Now 2-1 to Napoli. Astros are hitting in the bottom of the 3rd, scoreless in Houston against the Yankees. Three and 1. Alejandro Diaz on deck. And ball 4, he walks him for the 3rd straight time. How about that? 5 walks given up by Colomé. Twice he's been burned by walking Napoli, and here's ball 4 again.
And that has been something that Alex Colomé has really kept in check.
And look at Hickey.
Yeah, I mean, because again, you can't defend it. You don't have these pitches to play with. And Jim Hickey right now, that's as steamed as you'll ever see him standing in the dugout.
I mean, for a pitching coach, that's beyond annoying.
Jim Hickey's a pretty affable and understanding pitching coach, and he is not understanding at all what's going on with these walks here tonight. I'm glad I don't work for him right now.
Well, you know, the issue is, there he goes, and he didn't even pay attention to him.
Yep.
And into second base goes Napoli.
You know what? And think about the first and third situation where he walked in on the throw down to second base, and then here taking off on Colomé, never even peeks. Not a thought. And that's something that Alex is going to have to clean up right now, or teams are going to run wild on him. And that's not helping that man's move.
I mean, we thought he was upset over the walk. DeJesus handles this one. 2 gone. There was a walk to first and then essentially a walk to second on the stolen base. Now Blake Swihart, the young catcher. Those are classic shots of Jim Hickey. Classic.
You don't see him like that very often.
No.
I'll tell you that.
Swihart hits it high and deep to straightaway center. Room, though, on the track. Kiermaier is there to retire the side. A walk and a man left. Well, he didn't score that time. 3-1. Oh, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance by Grow Financial. Don't go through life, grow through life. And by the Florida Department of Transportation, who reminds you to drive sober or get pulled over. Colomé got through the top of the 6th without a run. We go to the home half of the inning, and the first pitch to Joey Butler is wide. Butler opened the night hitting .327, tops among all rookies. Up the middle, and it's going to get through. Base hit to lead off the inning. Right back over the bag at second. How many times have we seen that?
Well, you think about Joey Butler's last at bat, struck out on the curveball, and here he waits on it, and right back up the middle. You're right, one of his favorite places to go.
You know, he not only leads all rookies in batting average, but he leads all rookies in on-base percentage and is second in slugging percentage. Here's Evan Longoria. Into right. Bradley Jr. is going to go back. He'll leap off the wall. Extra bases. Butler hitting third. He'll stop there. The Rays have something cooking. 3 pitches into the bottom of the 6th. Then it's second and third and nobody out.
Well, that's just how quickly things can turn around. Joey Butler uses the middle of the field. Evan Longoria goes the other way. And he gets enough of this. I didn't know if this ball was going to have enough to get over the head of Bradley Jr., but he gets down and through it, creates a little bit of backspin, and just a few feet short of getting out of here.
You know, I'm with you. When it left the bat, I wasn't sure, but I watched Bradley, and Bradley was convinced from the beginning.
Full panic mode.
Yeah. So it's second and third, but I was with you. I'm thinking, nah, I'm not sure. Here's DeJesus.
It was not clear and convincing off the bat.
And we agree on that. 1-0 the count to David DeJesus. Well, the Rays have out-hit Boston 8-4, but they trailed 3-1. Grand opportunity here in the bottom of the 6th. And to right field. Bradley's going to make the catch. Tag. Butler's going to head to the plate. Throw to third. And it skips by. Sandoval backed up by Porcello. And it clips Sandoval, I think. The Rays get a run to make it 3-2 on the sacrifice fly by DeJesus. And boy, for a moment, when that ball skipped by Sandoval, you're thinking it might be a tie game.
Well, Bradley Jr. gets enough into this throw. He had a chance to get Evan, but Sandoval trying to get that glove down there to make the tag quickly. Ball's off the top of the glove, and Porcello saved. I don't know if that glove went, or that ball went off Evan Longoria's left arm. Awkward slide in there, two bodies colliding, and that ball does not go into the dugout.
Longoria is now at third. And they're going to appeal second base.
That's a tin can and a monkey move. Just begging.
I like it. I really like that. I'm going to write that down and use it at the proper time. Yeah, I mean, we both kind of rolled our eyes at that. 3-2 ball game now. Longoria is on third with Forsythe up here. Infield in and a breaking ball to start him, and that's in there for a strike. Forsythe 2 for 2. Boy, if he could punch one through the drawn in infield. 1-1.
Well, 2 hits tonight, 2 right up the middle. One on a pitch that was away, one that was a pitch that was in, that he pulled the hands in. So Logan, pretty good bead here tonight on Porcello. Like your chances.
This one skips away. Down the line from third comes Longoria, and we are tied. Breaking ball in the dirt, and the Rays tie it.
Well, you've got a guy at the plate that's 2 for 2 off of you. You're trying to be nasty, and you yank this pitch right into the dirt, and Blake Swihart does not help you out with the block.
So the Rays on the wild pitch tie the game at 3. And it's a 2-1 count now on Logan Forsythe. And to left, there's a base hit, and Forsythe is aboard. 3 hits in the 8th, along with a sacrifice fly and a wild pitch. Man at first, 2 runs home, 1 out. Carl Willis, the pitching coach, is on his way to the mound.
Logan Forsythe really locked in on Porcello. A couple of fastballs for hits. Now he gets the breaking ball down and away and is able to lift it out into left field. 3 hits, 3 runs for the Rays. A little bit of a momentum shift here in the bottom of the 6th.
Sox break up the conference. Carl Willis taking over as the pitching coach. Wandy Avis, who had been applauded for the job that he had done, found the time ran out and was replaced by Willis, with the Red Sox featuring the worst team ERA in the American League. 1-0 the count to Steven Souza Jr. We have a left-hander, Tommy Lane, up in the bullpen. Jepson, the right-hander, up in the pen for the Rays. Colomé has gone 94 pitches. And a strike on a 1-1 curveball makes it 1-2. Rays have tied it. Souza chops it toward the middle. Grabbed by the shortstop. He gets to the bag. Bogaerts gets the force on Forsythe.
There was enough steam on that ground ball by Souza Jr. that it forced Bogaerts deep behind second base to be able to corral that. And his momentum was taking him away from second base, so he couldn't just take this ground ball over the bag and complete the double play. Had to curl back and then try to avoid Forsythe.
Two gone with Souza Jr. aboard for Asdrubal Cabrera. Shift is on for Cabrera. 2 for 2. Over to first. Souza back in. Sends it into center field. Betts backing up. The Rays are out in the 6th, but they score 2. Leave 1, and this game is tied 3-3. Drop tonight. Here's what's coming up tomorrow on Rays Live for Game 2 of this series. Game show presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. We'll hear from Matt Andriese, who will get the start, and Orestes will break down the Boston shortstop, Xander Bogaerts. Kevin Jepson will take over on the hill for the Rays. Alex Colomé gave up 3 runs on 4 hits in 6 innings. And here's Jepson on for the 35th time.
31 innings of work, 26 strikeouts. Opponent's average there at 223. And here we go. Rays bullpen in a tight spot. Needs to come up with some zeros.
Jackie Bradley Jr. leads off. Straightens up. The pitch is upstairs. 1-0. So Colomé, 6 innings, 3 runs, 4 hits. He walked 5, struck out 3.
He did a nice job of battling through those 5 walks.
Yeah, 3 of those were to Napoli, and he scored twice.
And on the base paths, the first and third, little double steal action. Then he walked to second base. Alex Colomé paying him no mind. That was just in the last half inning.
Base hit lined into center on the changeup. So Bradley's aboard.
Well, immediate trouble. You got a guy at first leading off the inning. Bradley Jr. a nice job of going back up the middle. You got some speed, and this has been a unit that has been used. They have been used frequently, and they've been used in a ton of high leverage. You know, you talk about these kind of situations.
Yep.
Late in the ball game, you can't afford no margin for error. Well, tied ball game.
Rays playing all these close games, so almost every one is high leverage.
And, you know, they're talking to Kevin Jepsen about that and how many high leverage outings he's had. And he said, you know, when you come into these tight spots, every single pitch is max effort. It's different than coming in up 3, up 4, and making your pitches. You come in up 1, tied, you've got to just air it out while you're in there. And that takes its toll over time.
There's a strike, 1-1, and you're right. That's the point to be made. Their appearances are not out of line with their individual career highs. In fact, maybe an inning or two and an appearance or two under right now. But when you talk about being in close games every time you're out there, that's a difference. There's a strike. Bradley gotten a little walk away from first base on the last couple pitches. A little tap right side, and a throw back to second will get the lead man, and a nice play by Forsythe. He got there quickly enough, and that gave him time to make a play and keep Bradley out of scoring position.
The ball wasn't hit that hard, and Forsythe had to go for it. You see, just tapped out there by Betts, but he gets around it. You see how he was able to position his body and try to get around it as best he could to cut down all of the body activity and making that throw. That was a nice play by Forsythe. Because off the bat, I thought for sure you're going to take the out at first and you're going to have a runner at second base, and Logan made sure that didn't happen.
That's a seemingly small play, but a very big one in a tie game. A very big play right there. There's Brock Holt. The pitch is wide. 1-0. You know, that's a part of defense. People have asked, how have the Rays done it? The first thing they do is catch the ball, and they make plays like that. And that's a big difference. Guy at first instead of a guy at second with 1 out. Now he takes off, swing and a miss, throw down. It sails into center. Betts up, and now throw back to second. They're going to get him. He is out at second base. Kiermaier there backing it up, and they cut down Betts. Big play made by the Rays here in the 7th.
Boy, everybody picking each other up. You know, Betts is off and running. Casale's coming out of his crouch, and he airmails this ball into center field. But Kevin Kiermaier coming in to back it up, hustling in, and now Betts gets caught off, and there you go. Nobody taking a play off, and a little indecision there costs Mookie Betts.
Holt fouls this one, and now it's 1-2. Boy, a big play indeed. And it's more from Kevin Kiermaier in center field. Picking up another assist. Now second in the league with 7. 2-2 the count on Brock Holt. Jake McGee up in the bullpen. And that's high for ball 3. The count is full. Strike 3 called. Fastball at 94, got him. 7th inning stretch time at the Trop. We're tied 3-3. Tonight and all season, Tires Plus donates $100 to the Pediatric Cancer Foundation for every Tampa Bay Rays home run televised on Sun Sports. Jake Elmore will pinch hit for Mark Krause to open the bottom of the 7th, with the new pitcher being left-hander Tommy Lane. So Elmore on to hit. And the first pitch from Lane is a strike. 89 pitches for Porcello as Lane takes over. Two. 6 innings, 9 hits, 3 runs, a walk, 5 strikeouts for Porcello. Krause had a double in 2 at-bats and a run batted in. Junichi Tozawa up now in the Boston bullpen. Elmore hitting for Krause and down 0-2. Ground ball out to Holt at second base.
No, and anytime you find yourself in these situations where it becomes a battle of the bullpens, you love your chances with the Rays because of the depth and the quality of depth. You think about Jepson just threw an inning. You've got McGee lurking. You've got Boxberger. You've got Gomes. You've got Geltz. I mean, right on down the line. And so it's a matter of, can you outlast the Boston Red Sox?
There's a foul ball to Sally just outside the bag at third on the first pitch fastball.
And that's what goes back to the game on Wednesday. You know, where you got into the same type of situation and you were able to get into the 12th and didn't have enough. But that being said, and regardless of that outcome, you still like your chances.
Yeah, frustrating thing about that game. The Rays had opportunities in the 10th and 11th innings. I mean, you hold that team to 1 run in 12 innings, you'd like to win.
They scored more than that in 12 minutes tonight.
Yes, they did. They now have an 11-2 lead. Blue Jays batting in the bottom of the 8th, leading Texas. Casale up here with a 1-2 count. For the Rays tonight, 3 runs. They've drawn 1 walk. And Casale works the count to 3-2 after being down. Ball headed to the shortstop. Aaron's throw is in time. So 2 away. Now it's Kevin Kiermaier against the lefty.
Well, this is where you'd like to see Kiermaier and his speed kick in. Love to see him drive one out of here, but get one out into the outfield and let those legs go to work. Get yourself in scoring position.
Ground ball up the middle into center field. He'll make the aggressive turn and hang on at first. So he gets the base hit against the lefty. Butler's going to be due. Farrell comes out of the dugout following the base hit by Kiermaier.
Well, he gets it by Tommy Lane and up the middle. And John Farrell going to go to the right-hander.
And we'll be back in a moment. Presented by H.H. Gregg. We go back to the Toronto series. Josh Donaldson going into the stands. Oh, what a catch that was. It got a lot of national attention coming out of the final game of that series on Wednesday. Steven Souza Jr. into the stands in right field tonight on this catch.
And what was so impressive about Souza Jr., that glove is down below his knees when he catches that ball. It's not like he caught it and then couldn't stop himself. He had to really reach down below the knees. Heck of a play. But that catch by Josh Donaldson was otherworldly. You talk about selling out.
Junichi Tozawa makes his 35th appearance. And Joey Butler will face him.
You see how long Tozawa held the ball. They have the same feeling that we do, and that's that Kevin Kiermaier is going to try to swipe second base, getting the scoring position for Joey Butler here with 2 outs. Perfect time to go. But Boston's aware of that also.
Butler fouls the first pitch away. It was Butler's single that started the 6th, and the Rays wound up with 2 runs to tie this game. Tozawa on the mound, 4 attempts to steal against him, 3 successful this year. Oh, and that's strike 2.
Four-seamer up in the zone, and Joey Butler a little too far. Tried to hold up, already committed, and now Tozawa can go just about anywhere.
And he strikes him out. And back with a fastball. We're going to head into the 8th inning tonight. It's a 3-3 ball game. Summary brought to you by Gold and Diamond Swords. Boston jumped to a 2-0 lead, made it 3-1 in the 4th, and the Rays tied it with 2 in the 6th inning. Logan Forsythe 3 for 3 tonight with a run scored. Mike Napoli has walked 3 times and scored 2 of the Boston runs. And as we go to the 8th inning, Jake Elmore on to play first after pinch hitting for Krause. Mark Krause lifted. And Jake McGee, the new Rays pitcher, to work the 8th with Xander Bogaerts leading off. Bogaerts, Ortiz, and Sandoval due up. Pitch is a strike. Ground ball, shortstop, that's Cabrera. Up and out with the throw, and out the call. No more reaching to the foul side of the bag, home plate side. One away.
A little closer than you would like here. His throw is going to be a little bit wide, and you see Elmore glove it, able to keep that toe on the bag and record the out.
Shift is on. Cabrera stays on the left side. And it's McGee against David Ortiz. Ortiz with a walk and a single. 1 for 2 on the night. Pitch outside, 1-0. A 3-3 ball game tonight. Cut the foul ball.
Boy, did you see the look on David Ortiz's face? He thought that was a pitch that he could handle. That ball was middle in, down, good velocity, but Ortiz upset with himself that he fouled it off. Watch this reaction.
That's a strike. Well, you get all geared up, and then here's the curveball.
And I mean, well located. Down and away. You're certainly not looking for that. And even if you were, well, you'd be a moron, one. Number two, you're not going to do anything with it.
Broken bat. It's Longoria handling that one from the right side. Take a look at that at bat.
Well, this is Jake McGee really bringing it all out. Good fastball away, just misses. Okay, boom. That was one David Ortiz would like back. Then that. Now what? 1 and 2. Great spot down in the zone. Breaks the bat. Outstanding job.
(76-97). From a standing stop.
What were my formative years?
Those are foul ball back.
Those are velocities.
Still for it. Sandoval tonight 0 for 3. Twice has gone out in foul territory to Longoria. To catch up to that. Nope. 0-2. It's a ball and 2 strikes. So Sandoval batting left-handed here against Jake McGee. And he takes it wide. It's 2-2. It back. Sandoval going from the left side after switch hitting all that time, and he this year from the right side had gone 2 for 41. It's 0-49. Tough decision here against a guy like McGee, though. Oh. A 2-2 count.
You're just in survival mode. And really, at this point, you're just hoping that you get it started quick enough and Jake McGee throws the ball right into your bat.
McGee has retired Bogarts, and Ortiz now deals with Sandoval. Fly ball into left. Hits it right to DeJesus. We're going to go to the bottom of the 8th, and Evan Longoria will lead off for the Rays in a game tied at 3. It off. Let's check in with Lou Caputo one more time.
Woo, we're working up a sweat out here, getting so many orders for our ticket takeover tonight for the Flex Pack. Remember, you buy Flex Pack for 3, 6, or 9 games, folks. You're going to realize all kinds of savings. You're also going to get yourself savings on parking. You're going to get free gifts. And ladies, let's show them the wristbands. You're going to get wristbands that are going to get you into the concert series that are coming up this summer for Casey Musgrave and for Steve Aoki. Plus, tomorrow we're giving away headbands, all right? Back to you.
Well, here we go into the bottom of the 8th. Evan Longoria leads it off against Tazawa. Longoria, DeJesus, and Forsythe due up in the inning. And the first pitch is a curveball, and it's a strike. Tazawa got the 3rd out in the 7th inning. He struck out Butler. Evan's due against this guy. He is 1 for 12 in his career off Tazawa. And a base hit into left. Well, there's a start. Leadoff single by Evan Longoria, who is 2 for 4 tonight.
Boy, it was almost like he was just guessing heater there. And he got one to handle. It was away, but it was up. And he just gets out and around it. Finds a hole on the left side. Leadoff man aboard and all sorts of options available.
The Rays have the leadoff man aboard, and David DeJesus steps in. Into center, here comes Betts in. He's going to make the catch, and back to first goes Longoria. Just not soft enough off the bat that time.
I was with you. I was starting to scoot to the edge of the seat thinking that ball may drop in front of Mookie Betts, but not to be.
Well, Forsythe has had a good night. Brad Boxberger up in the bullpen for the Rays. Let's see if Logan can make it just a little bit better night. Average up over 300 now with the 3 hits in this game. There goes Longoria down to second base. Curveball in the dirt, got away. And now the Rays have a man in scoring position.
Well, a couple of breaking balls in the dirt here tonight. The Rays have been able to capitalize, moving up, one for a run. Blake Swihart not able to keep that ball in front of him. You see up off the heel of the glove, chest protector, and far enough away. Easy read there for Evan Longoria, and he alertly gets into second base.
So the second wild pitch of the night, charged to Boston pitching. Taken at the knees for a strike. Forsythe looking for his fourth hit. He's never had a four-hit game since coming to the Rays. He had one with the Padres in 2012. Low, 2 balls and a strike. The split down, and Swihart got in front of that. Longoria aboard at second. An opportunity with 1 out in the 8th in a tie game. And he takes ball 3. Fastball too low.
Right across the knees. That's a close borderline pitch. Boy, Forsythe has put himself into a good position here. 3-1 count.
Ground ball headed to short. Bogarts with a down to third. Out the call there. Bogarts with a quick toss over to third. And Longoria called out at third base.
Boy, that was a risky on both ends. First of all, Evan Longoria trying to get to third, less than, well, with 2 outs it would have been if he makes the play at first. But Bogarts headed that way, the quick flip and the tag right on Evans' back before he can get the right hand in. And a good call. Close. There's the tag. The hand comes in.
So Forsythe is at first with 2 outs now. Well, Longoria trying to get to third, and with the trouble that Swihart has had tonight with pitches in the dirt, you know, if you could get a guy at third, that was the thinking. And a strike to Souza Jr.
Well, the Rays, they're aggressive on the base paths. And every once in a while they're going to run into an out, but that was a calculated risk by Evan, not thinking that ball was hit sharply enough, had a little chopping action to it, and it was that close. And you're right. I mean, we've seen the Rays already score a run because of a breaking ball in the dirt. Evan got to second base because of a breaking ball in the dirt.
Upstairs, it's 1-2. Blue Jays beat Texas tonight 12-2. Encarnacion hit 2 home runs, 1 a grand slam. Valencia and Martin also hit home runs. Souza Jr. out on strikes, and the Rays missed the opportunity in the 8th. We go to the 9th, tied 3-3. up on Rays Live, the postgame, presented by Checkers. Todd and Orestes anchor the coverage from left field. Kevin Cash will hold his postgame press conference. We'll check that out, and Rich Hollenberg will have interviews from the Rays clubhouse tonight. Brad Boxberger follows Colomé, who pitched 6, Jepson, who pitched 1, and McGee, who pitched 1.
32nd appearance for Brad, 4-3 record. Not a save opportunity, but an important inning nonetheless.
Mike Napoli, who has walked 3 times, will lead off. Brian Gorman now chatting with Kevin Cash. We had a conversation going with John Farrell just a few moments ago, and now one would guess that might be related. At this point, hard to figure what that conversation might be about. First pitch to Napoli is a strike from Boxberger. If it were spring training, he'd say, look, we brought enough pitchers for 1 or 2 more innings.
Right.
But that's not the case tonight. Uehara and Breslow. Breslow, the lefty, busy in the Boston bullpen. One and 2. See Napoli's career work against Boxberger. 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. And into center field off the fastball. And Napoli's on for the 4th time tonight.
And he didn't hit that fastball particularly well, but boy did he put it in a good spot. This pitch stayed middle of the plate. Napoli a little bit long in the swing, gets that ball off the label, but there is nobody home once it gets over the head of Brad Boxberger.
Alejandro Diaza, who doubled home a run and scored 1 back in the 2nd.
Gonna look for the bunt here, and that's exactly the throw over. Not worried about Napoli stealing, although he took a bag off Alex Colomé. Not a known base stealer, but you're looking to see if Diaza is going to tip anything here as far as a bunt. You got Evan Longoria even with the bag. It was even a little further in as Boxberger was delivering the pitch to the plate.
And the bunt popped up. Casali digging hard. Can't get there. Just not high enough to give Casali time. So that's the first strike.
But we've seen the Rays in this situation get aggressive defensively and look to cut the runner down at second base. And Napoli, by no means a speedster. See if they try to do it again here.
Down around his feet, moving the back foot, 1-1.
Yeah, and you had Evan was crashing pretty hard. Elmore coming off first base. They may have been thinking of just that, a bunt that's a little bit too hard, and maybe you go for Napoli at second base.
Upstairs. Boxberger worked in the 12-inning game on Wednesday. Diaz, that's a strike. And it's 2-2 now.
Well, and a couple of attempts here by Diaz that leave a little something to be desired. See him going down, just trying to poke at this ball. The lost art.
Now 2-2. Red Sox showing bunt. Now a swing away. And Diaz is out on strikes.
Well, what a waste of that bat. And 2 bunt attempts that not what you were looking for, and then a changeup. And he actually started out showing bunt, pulled back to swing, and
so the Rays get the first out. Blake Swihart. He takes a changeup too low. Into center, short center. Kiermaier coming in a hurry to get there. Throw back to first is wide. Backed up by Casale. So Swihart is out, number 2. Jackie Bradley Jr., who has a run batted in with a fly ball. And that's a strike. Off speed to start him. And the fastball, 0-2.
How about the location of those 2 pitches to get out in front of Bradley Jr. 0-2. Back to back, change up fastball in exactly the same spot.
Strike 3 call. Got him looking. Leadoff single. Napoli left at first base. Cabrera is going to lead off the bottom of the 9th, tied 3-3. Is brought to you by Budweiser, make a plan to make it home. By Hattrick's Tavern, who is proud to introduce Hattrick's Catering. By Checkers, Mix and Match, our famous Big Buford and Big Chicken Deluxe. Get 2 for $5. And by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Craig Breslow is the new pitcher, the veteran left-hander. The Rays will have Asdrubal Cabrera, who'll hit right-handed against Breslow. Cabrera 2 hits tonight, 2 out of 3. 1 a bunt single, and all of that from the left side. There's an extra base hit on the first pitch. Down the left field line. Cabrera on his way to second with a double. Big hit by Cabrera to start the bottom of the 9th inning. His 10th double of the year.
Well, this is a pitch that did not get to its desired spot. Wanted it away, ends up middle in, and Cabrera gets out around it, gets it, hits it hard, and gets it between Sandoval and third base. I'll tell you, they had Pablo Sandoval positioned perfectly down there, but was not able to react to it in time, and that has been really a rough spot for the Boston Red Sox this year defensively. Not only does Sandoval have 10 errors, but not getting to balls that you would expect him to, and he was right there on the line and couldn't make that play, or at least knock the ball down and keep Cabrera at first.
And now Jake Elmore will be walked intentionally with the leadoff double by Cabrera. We'll take another look at the double by Cabrera, getting it by Sandoval.
Look where he is. I mean, he's a step from third base, and it's just a flop over. Not an easy play, but you at least want to knock that ball down and keep Cabrera at first base, and that ball jumped right over his glove into the corner, and the Rays are set up nicely.
So the walk to Elmore. Kurt Casale, the Rays catcher, is going to be up here. Casale showing the bunt. They had Napoli charging from first.
I mean, that was an all-out blitz there by Boston. Send in the house. I mean, Napoli was in Elmore's pocket. Excuse me, Casale's pocket. Either one.
And he bunts and misses. And again, Napoli, if he comes any quicker, he's going to intercept the pitch from Breslow on the way to the plate.
He's coming so hard. If I'm Kurt Casale, I just bunt it right by him. I mean, he's got no range as hard as he's charging. Well, you could bunt it for a hit the other way. You got him charging. Breslow headed towards third. Sandoval's been hugging third base.
Two on, nobody out. 1-1 to count. Napoli comes again, and there's ball 2.
I mean, you've got some options here if you're Casale. You
could just hit it up the middle, because you've got the pitcher Breslow immediately breaking to the third base side.
Or just bunt it.
Yeah.
Bunt it hard right back over the mound.
And he pops it up. That's going to be foul. 2-2.
Boy, listen, you think about De Aza in the last half, trying to get a bunt down and get a guy into scoring position. The Rays trying to get a bunt down, get 2 guys into scoring position. These are the things, you know, offense isn't what it was 10 years ago. Every run matters, especially when you're talking about Rays ball games. You've got to be able to execute these basic fundamentals. and take advantage. This is how you win close games. And another shot here.
And a cut and a miss. Casale is out on strikes. It's a big out.
Now, once you get to 2 strikes, Breslow going to come with the breaking ball and just drop it below the zone. He gets a big strikeout there. No advancement for the Rays runners and 1 out.
Well, the Rays in similar situations against Toronto on Wednesday, trying to get a bunt down. They had opportunities in the 10th and 11th innings of that one. Here's Kiermaier. Tracks it too low, the fastball. Alexi Ogando is busy in the bullpen for Boston. The Rays have Joey Butler on deck. And a chop right side. Holt will go to first. Out there, and the runners move up to second and third.
Every time Kiermaier puts a ball in play on the ground, he's got a chance.
Yep.
He's got a chance. You can feel it. The fans feel it. I'm sure the guys in the dugout feel it. Boy, a chopper here, and you're like, this, he could beat it out. He comes out of the box hot. Holt gets him by a half step.
Now second and third, 2 outs with Butler coming up. Pitching change on its way. The Red Sox counter with the hard-throwing right-hander, Alexi Ogando, their 5th pitcher of the night, on for the 31st time.
Well, 31 and 2/3 innings of work for Ogando, just 22 strikeouts. Opponent's average 217. This is the matchup. And Joey Butler, well, you got to like the Rays' chances between Butler or Longoria.
Butler has a walk and a single tonight. And fouls it back on the first pitch fastball.
Boy, a healthy cut at a fastball, elevated out over the plate.
Foul out of play, and he's quickly down 0-2. Tapper foul. Mid-90s fastball from Ogando.
Well, you got to stay disciplined here, because if Alexi Ogando's smart, 0-2 count, expand the zone here. And you could probably expand up with the heater. You got a hitter that's looking to protect. He swung at every offering you've given him. Make him throw you a strike.
This one way wide. He expanded and then some with that one. 1-2. Fly ball into right, and Bradley is there to make the catch. So Butler goes out to right, and we move into extra innings. Boston jumped out in front with 2 runs in the second inning on a double by Diaz and a fly ball by Bradley Jr. Rays got a run in the bottom of the second. Mark Krause just joining the team. Double home a run. That made it 2-1. Boston another run in the fourth. Napoli led off the inning and scored. Rays got 2 in the 6th to tie it. Sacrifice fly by David DeJesus. Rays got another run when Longoria scored. Got a couple of threats since, but we're tied. And on to the 10th we go. Mookie Betts to face Steve Geltz, who throws him a first pitch strike. Colomé for 6. Jepson, McGee, and Boxberger each 1, and Geltz is on for the 34th time.
How about that opponent's average?
1-1. Geltz has done whatever the Rays have asked him to do when it comes to pitching. Fouled back, 1-2.
Well, right now what they're asking him to do is 3 outs, no runs. Starting right at the top of the order. It won't be easy. And typically when you get into double digits as far as innings goes, it never is.
Pitch up, and it's foul back. Fastball up there, 1-2. Cedeno and Gomes up in the Rays bullpen. toward the left field line, hanging up there. That's going to drop fair. Betts heads into second with a double to extend his hitting streak and give the Red Sox a 10th inning threat.
Boy, that ball softly hit by Mookie Betts. You talk about placement. Just kind of a poof here off the bat. Meant to be away, comes way in. And he lifts it down the line. It stays fair and just drops in. Well, now it gets difficult. Runner on second, nobody out. And you've got 2, 3, and 4 coming to the plate.
Brock Holt, the first in that line of hitters. 0 for 3. He walked in the first. Betts on second with his 17th double of the year. There's a strike. Inside edge on the fastball.
And Asdrubal Cabrera right behind Mookie Betts, trying to keep him very close out there at second base. Shaded up the middle, which allows that.
Down 1-1. Baltimore has beaten Cleveland 4-3. Winning run coming in the bottom of the 8th on a Chris Davis single. Blue Jays have won. The Orioles have won. Zuihara up again in the bullpen. Into left. That's going to drop for a base hit. Betts heads to the plate. Throw is cut off, and now they're going to get Holt in the rundown. And he is out for running out of the baseline to avoid the tag. But he gets the run home. Betts scores, and the Red Sox take a 4-3 lead.
Well, Brock Holt shot that ball the other way. You see him still limping on that foot that he fouled the pitch off of his ankle. Ball's away. He pokes it away. Actually, that ball's off the plate away. Pretty good read here by Mookie Betts. He sells out and is going to score. And right here, a good cut by Evan. You know, you never know. The Red Sox did take a 1-run lead, but Brock Holt going to second to force that play. You get him out of there, keep it at 1 run, and see what happens.
Bogarts swings and he misses. Strike one, 1 out, bases empty in what is now a 4-3 game. So Holt with a single to drive in the run, and he was out 7-5, 6-3 on the rundown. And that is strike 3 call. The Bogarts, the second out. And David Ortiz will be the hitter. The Braves put that big shift on for him. Yankees have scored 3 in the 7th in Houston to take a 3-2 lead in that game. Ortiz a big cut and he fouls it. That's a strike. Those runs came on a 3-run home run by Chris Young in the 7th inning for New York. One ball, 1 strike. Shot into center. Cut off by Kiermaier, and they're going to hold him to a single. Kiermaier Quite a throw back to second base, off balance and right on the bag.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that was a really nice throw. That ball shot out there. First of all, to cut it off. It gets by him, it's going to be a double for Ortiz, and this ball was well struck. Belt high, full extension. And number one, he cuts it, but then, yeah, check the throw.
A routine throw to second for Kiermaier. How amazing. Off balance. That's not a good sign. 4-3. Back in a moment. Against Sandoval, with Ortiz at first, 2 outs and a run already home. This is the 27th appearance for Cedeno. And he is after the first pitch, Sandoval, and sends it right back through the middle for a base hit. So one pitch and another man is aboard. Mike Napoli is due. Kevin Cash heads out to the mound again with Brandon Gomes at the ready. No, that's Yates now. Kirby Yates will enter the game. Back in a moment. Beef jerky all season long. Jaff Links, beef jerky, feed your wild side. Extra innings in the top of the 10th. The Red Sox have scored a run. They have 2 outs with 2 men on. Mike Napoli coming to the plate. Kirby Yates will get the call. Yates, after his stint on the DL, had gone to Durham and made 8 appearances there. Last time out for the Rays was in the middle of April when he pitched 2 innings against Toronto. And here he is against Mike Napoli and the Red Sox. First pitch is a strike. Red Sox have collected 4 hits in this inning. Strike 2. It's a ball and 2 strikes. Yates in an extended time on the DL with a strained right pectoral muscle. There is a pitch that just did miss. Yates thought he had strike 3. He was walking off the mound.
Yeah, felt pretty good about it, and it was close. Right on the corner, right around the knees. There's Kirby Yates.
Pitch.
Yep. Well, we've seen some of them called, and then others not.
That one is called strike 3, and Napoli squawks about that one. Well, Napoli got the prior pitch and didn't get that one. That one was off the plate. The other one was a strike. So Napoli can decide on which pitch he'd like to be called out on.
Yeah,
because this one's off the plate. The other one will strike 3. So they score the go-ahead run.
Yeah, that's tough too, because the other pitch, borderline, it's been established as a ball, or at least you think it has, and then you recognize a pitch a little further off, and then that call goes against you. You can certainly understand why Napoli was upset, and Kirby Yates elated. Just 1 run down, you keep them there, a 4-hit inning, and they score just 1 run. Maybe that bodes well for the Rays here. Something can happen.
So it's a 4-3 ball game as we head into the bottom of the 10th inning. Second game of this series. Tomorrow we'll be with you at 3:30 with our Rays Live, the pregame on Sun Sports, and Matt Andrees will make the start for the Rays.
But Matt Andrees is going to show this Boston ball club everything. He's got the fastball down, try to get some ground balls, cutter, slider, curveball, changeup, elevated heater. Saw his numbers on the season, that ERA below 3. They're going to need an outing like that tomorrow, and hopefully a comeback here tonight.
Well, we see the standings right now. The Rays have a 1.5 game lead on Baltimore and New York and Toronto. The Yankees have a 3-2 lead in Houston. Baltimore already a winner. Toronto already a winner. And the Rays and the Red Sox are in the bottom of the 10th inning with Longoria, DeJesus, and Forsythe due up, and they're going to face Uehara. So Ogando becomes the pitcher of record right now for Boston. As Koji Uehara is on for the 28th time.
Well, 24 innings of work, 27 strikeouts, 14 out of 16 in saves. Well, he gets it done without overpowering stuff. That fastball in the upper 80s and a couple of different types of splits.
Longoria takes the first pitch, and that's in there for a strike.
He's able to be so effective. His arm speed never changes. Everything the same on every pitch.
1-1. Evan 3 for 22 with a home run off him. The count is 1-2. For that one, down in the count, at the mercy of the split. Out number 1.
And he'll, like I said, he'll throw a couple of different kinds. And when he gets up in the count 1 and 2, boy, it's not easy. And he keeps that away. Late action, late finish. A hitter looking to protect. Not always a great combination.
David DeJesus. Strike 1.
And did you see a little bit tardy on that swing at 88 miles an hour? That's the other thing Uehara will do. He'll get you in between those two pitches. You see that with Brad Boxberger, different velocities, same concept.
Look out, the bat toward the on-deck circle, the ball fouled. 0-2. Well, to this point, late in this game, the Rays suffered the same situation they've suffered in extra innings against the Blue Jays on Wednesday. Missing some opportunities in the bottom of the 10th and certainly in the 11th. They missed an opportunity in the bottom of the 9th tonight. DeJesus missed the fastball. Split got Longoria. Fastball got DeJesus.
3 in a row. 3 in a row. He came with 3 heaters. This one, he gets up around the letters and comes up empty.
Logan Forsythe swings over the split.
It's almost like he's reading the hitter's minds. David DeJesus, it looked like with his swings that he was waiting for the split. A little bit tardy on the fastball. Forsythe right there. Going to get a fastball? Nope, it was a split. And another.
0-2.
Boy, you talk about a pitcher that's one step ahead of the hitter. That's Coach Uehara right now.
Tap to short. Bogart's up with it. And this game is over. Rays up and down in order in the 10th inning. It's a final. The Rays drop their second straight extra inning game, losing the first game of this 3-game series.